Have you ever felt like the best years of your intimate life might be behind you? Maybe things just aren't quite what they used to be, and you feel a sense of frustration, maybe even a bit of sadness, wondering if you've missed out on something important, or if it's just the way things are now. It's a painful reality for many men as they get older, grappling with changes in their bodies, their energy, and maybe even their confidence. You might feel like you're supposed to just accept it, that this vibrant part of life fades away. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if there were profound yet surprisingly simple lessons learned by men who've lived a long time, who navigated these changes and found a deeper, more fulfilling connection than they ever expected? These aren't just physical tricks. They are life lessons about intimacy that many men only wish they'd understood decades sooner. They're like hidden secrets to a richer, more satisfying life in later years, not just in the bedroom, but in your relationship and your overall sense of well-being. In this video, we're going to explore 5 of these powerful insights, secrets almost, that come straight from the lived experience of the elderly. Lessons that can transform how you think about and experience intimacy as you age. And trust me, some of what we discuss might really surprise you. Watch to the end for something that will truly open your eyes. Let's dive into the first of these profound insights, something that shifts the entire perspective on intimacy as we get older. The first secret, the one many men wish they knew in their younger, perhaps more anxious years, is this. It's not just about performance anymore. For so much of a man's life, especially when we're younger, there's this immense pressure, often self-imposed, around performance. It's about achieving a certain physical outcome, ticking a box, maybe even comparing ourselves to others or to some unrealistic standard set by media or youthful bravado. We get fixated on erections, stamina, timing, all those things that feel like the defining measures of success in the bedroom. But as men age, and certainly as we learn from the wisdom of those who have navigated many decades, they understand deeply that focusing solely on performance is like trying to build a house with just one tool. It's limiting, it's stressful, and ultimately, it misses the true foundation of lasting intimacy. The reality is, physical changes happen. Bodies age, responses might be different, and expecting things to work exactly as they did at 25 is setting yourself up for frustration and disappointment. The secret here is letting go of that rigid, performance-driven mindset and understanding that the true essence of intimacy, especially as we age, is connection. It's about shared pleasure, mutual affection, closeness, and the emotional bond you share with your partner. Think about the men who tell these stories later in life. They often talk about how freeing it was when they finally let go of the pressure to always perform in a specific way. They started focusing on other things, the warmth of holding hands, the comfort of cuddling, sharing tender kisses, exploring different kinds of touch that don't necessarily lead to intercourse. They discovered that pleasure isn't just one narrow road. It's a vast landscape with many paths. One gentleman, a man in his late 80s sharing his wisdom, talked about how the most intimate moments with his wife in their later years were often just lying close together, talking, laughing, and feeling that deep sense of companionship and love. He said, "We stopped trying to relive our 40s and we started enjoying being 80. And in doing that, we found new ways to be close, ways that were actually more meaningful because they weren't clouded by anxiety." He realized that the physical act, while wonderful when it happens, wasn't the only or even the primary source of intimacy anymore. The key takeaway here, this vital lesson, is that your worth, your masculinity, and your ability to be intimate are not solely defined by your physical capabilities in a narrow sense. Shifting your focus from, "Can I do this?" to "How can I connect with my partner?" opens up a world of possibilities. It's about exploring the full spectrum of intimacy, which includes emotional closeness, verbal affection, physical touch, and yes, still sex if and when it feels good and is possible, but without the suffocating weight of performance anxiety. This liberation allows for more relaxation, more spontaneity, and paradoxically, often makes physical intimacy more enjoyable when it does occur because the pressure is off. It's a profound lesson in presence and appreciation for the intimacy that is possible, rather than mourning what might be different. This takes us beautifully into the second critical secret, one that underpins almost every aspect of a fulfilling relationship, especially when navigating the inevitable changes that come with age. And that secret is this: Communication is your greatest tool. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Communication, that's not a sex secret. But believe me, according to the wisdom shared by countless individuals looking back on their lives, the ability and willingness to truly talk with your partner is perhaps the single most powerful ingredient for a vibrant, intimate life that lasts. When you're younger, maybe you rely more on instinct, physical cues, or just a general understanding that seems to exist without much effort. But as bodies change, as desires might shift, as comfort levels with certain activities evolve, trying to navigate intimacy without open communication becomes incredibly challenging. It breeds assumptions, misunderstandings, and unspoken frustrations. Many elderly men reflect on years where they felt isolated in their concerns about their changing bodies, or they assumed their partner wasn't interested, or they didn't know how to express their own desires or new ways they might want to connect. Their partners felt similarly. A wall of silence, however unintentional, could build up, leading to distance and a decline in intimacy that wasn't inevitable. The men who maintained fulfilling intimate lives spoke about making communication a priority. They talked about their fears openly, maybe saying something like, "I'm worried that things aren't working like they used to, and I feel a bit embarrassed." Or they initiated conversations about what felt good, exploring different types of touch by actually talking about it. Instead of just hoping their partner would magically know what they needed or wanted, they used their words. This isn't always easy, of course. It requires vulnerability. It means being brave enough to talk about sensitive topics, to express needs and desires that might feel awkward, and to listen actively to your partner's needs and feelings without judgment. One older gentleman shared how, after years of quiet frustration, he finally sat down with his wife and just said, "Things are different for me now, physically. It makes me feel a bit insecure sometimes. But I still want to be close to you. Can we talk about how we can still have that intimacy, whatever that looks like for us now?" That conversation, he said, changed everything. It removed the guesswork, the fear of rejection, and allowed them to become a team working together to figure things out. They started exploring different forms of touch, finding new ways to build arousal and connection, and discovering that talking about it actually made them feel closer emotionally, which in turn enhanced their physical intimacy. It's about creating a safe space where both partners feel comfortable sharing their physical and emotional needs without fear of judgment or misunderstanding. This includes talking about health concerns, discussing medications that might be having an impact, and finding solutions together. It's about saying, "I love you, and I want us to continue sharing this important part of our lives," and then actively discussing how to make that happen, given where you both are now. Communication isn't just talking. It's listening, it's empathy, it's collaborative problem solving. It's the bridge that connects your inner world to your partner's and allows you to navigate the inevitable changes of aging as a team. Without it, intimacy can become a source of anxiety and distance. With it, it can become a deeper, more understanding, and more resilient bond. So these first two lessons, shifting the focus from rigid performance to connection, and making open communication your primary tool, are foundational. They change the lens through which you view intimacy in your later years. But there's more to it, and some of the most impactful lessons involve how you treat your body and your mind. Now, let's move on to the third crucial lesson, one that might seem obvious but is often overlooked in the context of intimacy. Physical health is the foundation, and it's about so much more than just the right pill. Many men, when they encounter challenges with intimacy as they age, immediately think about quick fixes, perhaps a medication to address a specific physical symptom. While modern medicine offers valuable tools and should absolutely be discussed with your doctor, the deeper wisdom from those who've lived fully into old age is that sustainable, fulfilling intimacy is built on the bedrock of overall health. You can't separate your intimate health from your general well-being. The energy you have, your mood, your flexibility, your circulation, all of these things profoundly impact your ability and desire for physical closeness. Men who maintain a satisfying, intimate life into their later years often talk about prioritizing their health long before specific issues arise. This means simple, fundamental habits that pay huge dividends over time. It's about consistent, moderate exercise, not necessarily running marathons, but things like daily walking, stretching, maybe some light strength training. Exercise improves circulation, boosts energy levels, helps manage weight, reduces stress, and improves mood. All factors that contribute positively to intimacy. It's also about diet, fueling your body with nutritious foods, staying hydrated, and managing conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or high blood pressure through diet and medical care are absolutely critical. These conditions directly impact circulation and nerve function, which are essential for physical intimacy. The men who shared these life lessons emphasized that they stopped thinking of their physical health routine as just something they should do, and started seeing it as an investment in their quality of life, including their intimate life. One gentleman in his 90s who still enjoyed closeness with his wife attributed much of it to staying active and managing his diet for decades. He said, "I didn't do it specifically for sex, but I realize now that taking care of my body was like taking care of our relationship." Sleep is another often underestimated factor. Poor sleep affects hormone levels, energy, mood, and stress. All things that can dampen desire and make intimacy feel like too much effort. Prioritizing 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep is a powerful, though often challenging habit to cultivate, but its impact on overall vitality is enormous. Stress management is also key. Chronic stress floods the body with hormones that can suppress libido and create tension. Finding healthy ways to manage stress, whether through hobbies, mindfulness, spending time in nature, or social connection, is vital for maintaining both physical and emotional availability for intimacy. So while medical interventions certainly have their place, the lasting lesson is that taking holistic care of your physical health through consistent, healthy habits is perhaps the most powerful secret weapon for maintaining a vibrant, intimate connection as you age. It's about building resilience and energy from the inside out. Building on this idea of adapting and finding new ways to connect, the fourth profound lesson is, adapt and explore. Intimacy evolves. If you try to force your intimate life in your 70s or 80s to look exactly like it did in your 30s, you're likely to be met with frustration. The wisdom of the elderly is that intimacy is not a static concept. It's a living, breathing part of your relationship that needs to adapt and evolve as you both change. This means being open to exploring different forms of physical closeness and pleasure beyond what you might have previously considered standard. Maybe intercourse is less frequent or becomes difficult. This doesn't mean your intimate life is over. Far from it. It's an invitation to explore the vast spectrum of physical touch and connection. This could involve focusing more on cuddling, massage, mutual caressing, oral sex, or using adult toys together. It's about discovering what feels good now and what brings pleasure and connection to both partners. Many older couples have shared how they discovered new levels of intimacy and pleasure by letting go of old scripts and being playful and experimental together. They might find that different times of day are better for physical closeness when energy levels are higher. They might incorporate longer periods of foreplay or focus on different erogenous zones. They learn to prioritize pleasure and connection over penetration if that becomes challenging. This requires a willingness to be open-minded, to communicate about what you're exploring, tying back to lesson 2, and to be patient with each other. It's about learning together what works for your bodies and your relationship in this phase of life. One man reflected that letting go of the expectation that sex always had to involve intercourse opened up a whole new world of playful, sensual connection with his wife. They discovered that massage and extended periods of cuddling brought them immense pleasure and deepened their bond in a way they hadn't experienced before. He said, "We stopped chasing what was and started appreciating what could be, and what could be was beautiful in its own way." This adaptability extends beyond the purely physical. It's also about finding intimacy in shared activities, in supporting each other, in the quiet moments of companionship. As physical abilities change, focusing on shared hobbies, holding hands while watching a movie, or simply enjoying each other's presence becomes just as vital a part of the intimate tapestry of the relationship. So the lesson is clear. Don't be afraid to let your intimate life evolve. Be creative, be open to exploring new possibilities, and find joy in the many different ways you can share physical and emotional closeness with your partner as you age. It's not about settling for less, it's about discovering more. And finally, we come to the fifth, and perhaps most powerful secret, one that ties all the others together. And so we arrive at the fifth secret, the one that, in many ways, underpins all the others we've discussed. The shift from performance focus to connection. the power of communication, the importance of holistic health, and the willingness to adapt and explore. This final crucial lesson is, mindset is everything. Letting go of old expectations. You could have the healthiest body, a partner you communicate beautifully with, and a willingness to try new things. But if your internal landscape is filled with self-criticism, shame, or a rigid attachment to how things used to be, it will be incredibly difficult to experience fulfilling intimacy. The elderly men and women who speak with such wisdom about navigating aging and intimacy often highlight the psychological aspect as the most significant barrier or the greatest facilitator. The painful reality we mentioned at the start, that feeling of frustration or sadness about changes, often stems from a mindset rooted in youthful ideals and expectations. We compare our current selves to past selves or to unrealistic societal portrayals of aging and intimacy. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, performance anxiety, even if the focus has shifted from just penetration, and a reluctance to even try. The secret here is cultivating a mindset of acceptance, self-compassion, and focusing on the positive aspects of intimacy in later life. It's about acknowledging the changes without letting them define you or your relationship. It's about recognizing that aging is a natural process, and that while some physical capacities may diminish, others, like emotional depth, understanding, and mutual history, have grown immeasurably. Letting go of old expectations means accepting that intimacy might look and feel different, and understanding that different doesn't mean less. It means letting go of the pressure to perform and instead focusing on the joy of connection itself. This requires conscious effort. It might involve challenging negative self-talk, practicing mindfulness to be present in intimate moments rather than dwelling on anxieties, and focusing on the pleasure and connection you are experiencing rather than lamenting what you are not. Many older individuals talk about the freedom that comes with age, the reduced need to impress, the greater comfort in their own skin, the deeper appreciation for genuine connection. This newfound freedom can translate directly into intimacy. One gentleman shared how once he stopped worrying so much about whether everything was working perfectly, he became more relaxed and able to enjoy the sensation and the closeness with his wife. He said, "I realized I was getting in my own way. My head was telling me I wasn't man enough anymore because things were different. But when I finally quieted that voice and just focused on holding her and being together, the connection was stronger than ever." His mindset shifted from one of deficit to one of appreciation for the intimacy that was available to them. This also ties into resilience. There will be days when physical intimacy is difficult or not possible due to health issues, fatigue, or simply not feeling up to it. A positive mindset allows you to navigate these moments without letting them derail your entire intimate life. It's about understanding that intimacy is a journey, not a destination, and that there will be ups and downs. It's about focusing on the overall pattern of love, connection, and shared life, rather than getting fixated on individual moments of difficulty. Cultivating gratitude for your partner, for the intimacy you share, and for the life you've built together is also a powerful mindset shift. When you approach intimacy from a place of gratitude and appreciation, rather than anxiety or expectation, it transforms the experience. It allows you to be more present, more generous, and more receptive to the pleasure and connection that is available. So these 5 secrets, shifting focus from performance to connection, harnessing the power of communication, building intimacy on the foundation of physical health, embracing adaptability and exploration, and cultivating a positive mindset, are not quick fixes. They are profound life lessons, gathered from the rich experience of those who have navigated the journey of aging and discovered that intimacy doesn't have to fade. It can simply change, deepen, and become even more meaningful. Remember, small shifts in perspective and daily habits can make a truly monumental difference in your health, your happiness, and the richness of your intimate life at any age. It's never too late to incorporate these lessons. Start with one small change, whether it's having an honest conversation with your partner, committing to a daily walk, or simply trying to approach intimacy with more presence and less pressure. You might be amazed at the positive changes that unfold. We covered a lot today, focusing on shifting your perspective from performance to connection, the absolute necessity of open communication with your partner, building intimacy on the solid ground of your overall physical health, the beauty of adapting and exploring new ways to be close as you age, and finally, the transformative power of your mindset, letting go of old expectations and embracing what is possible now. These aren't magic pills, but they are powerful proven principles that have allowed countless men to maintain and even deepen their intimate relationships late in life. It's about recognizing that aging brings changes, but it also brings wisdom, deeper emotional capacity, and new opportunities for connection. Don't let fear or outdated expectations hold you back. Embrace the journey, communicate with your partner, take care of your body, be open to new experiences, and cultivate a positive, accepting mindset. Your intimate life is a valuable part of your overall well-being and happiness, and it's worth investing in at every stage of life. I hope these insights, these secrets gleaned from the wisdom of those who have walked this path before us, have been helpful and encouraging. What resonated most with you? Have you experienced any of these shifts in your own life? Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your perspective could be incredibly helpful to others watching this video. And if you found this video valuable, please give it a like. It helps us reach more people who could benefit from this information. And be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos on living a fulfilling and vibrant life in your later years. Thank you for watching. Keep learning, keep connecting, and live your best life at every age.